let's actually start making the web page. So we're just going to use placeholders and such. We're just going to lay out the general web page here and then kind of go from there. So what we want to do first is we're going to use Bootstrap as our framework that we build the entirety of it out of. So I'm going to switch to Bootstrap components. Okay. And what we need to do is, much like I was telling you earlier that the body, all the content wraps inside the body, what I have to do is inside the body, and we'll just do it up here, I need to put either a container or a container fluid. What the container does is it says that everything that's inside of it, you're going to see it's a div with a class of container. It's going to say that anything that's inside of it should be treated as a Bootstrap component. So we're going to do grid rows. We're going to do rows and then columns of them inside. So I have to do either container or container fluid. So that you can kind of tell here, basically the container will have margins on either side. And the fluid one goes all the way to the edge. That's kind of the big difference. So we're just going to do container because I think generally that looks better. You might notice my website is container style. It has large margins on either side, probably a little too large. So we're going to do container. So all we're going to do is click in here, make sure you're on Bootstrap components and hit container. All right. Now you're going to notice, see how it automatically just snapped in here. And now we have a container. Everything that we're going to make is going to go inside of this container here. Okay. So I'm going to click inside the container. And what I want to do is a grid row with column. So click on grid row with column. And we just want to do a menu item. So we're going to go ahead and let's just make this a one column. I mean, we just want one chunk that goes to the entirety of it. Okay. And then inside of that, we're just going to go ahead and say we want to nest it, meaning I want it to be inside of this. Okay. Boom. So now you can see it automatically put it. It wrote our code for us. And then it put the row, and then it made a column, and then it put content in there for us. Now, what I want to do is inside of this, I'm going to see if I can, I think it won't let me delete it. Oh, it did. Okay. But see, it won't ever get rid of the space. I find that very annoying. So I'm actually going to go down here and just delete it there. So put your cursor right there, and we're going to go ahead and we are going to put a nav bar in there. Okay, so again, this is another pre-made Bootstrap component. I'm going to go down here. And you'll see nav bar. If we hit the little arrow here, you'll see there's different options. So there's nav bar basic, which or basic nav bar, which is just the most general generic one. It's white. There's one that's fixed top, which means it'll stay on the top even when you scroll down. It'll always be on the top. And there's one for fixed bottom. And then there's inverted, which just means dark. So I'm just going to do the basic, and then we can adjust it afterwards if we would like. And you'll see that now we have this row, which means one row across, and then there's a column. There's only one column across. You can see that they have these classes. So they're divs, but they have these classes on them. This class basically says, oh, inside of Bootstrap, there's CSS for a row, and then they'll inside of here. Thank you. Get out of there. I don't know where it is. There's a bunch of CSS rules in here, but inside of there, treat it as one row across, and then this is a column which goes the entirety of that row. And then we have this pre-made asset of a nav element that has, again, classes that are linking to Bootstrap, and it tells it to look this way. All right, that's what we were going for. Okay, now what I want to do after this is just to make things a little bit easier because it's kind of hard to see. I'm going to take, if you go over here, you can this little twirly. And that will twirl it up, and that way I don't have to see, because that's a really big piece. If this is down, you see how like it's all these Ghibli bits, too much. So I'm hit this, and that's just going to collapse it and just make it easier to read. All right, great. So after this row, I need to put another row, and oh, I didn't want to do. I want to do it on this one. So after this column and row, I need to do another row. I want to do another one underneath it, and I want that just to be my title. Now we can do this a couple different ways. I'm going to show you how to do it in here. And then afterwards, we'll do a little bit down in here. So what I'm going to do is, oh, right here, we can add a new, because I clicked on it. So if you click on it, you'll see it gives me the options. But if I'm on the column here, see, I can add another column. And on the nav, it'll give me options like the classes and stuff that are attached to the nav. But this is all kind of confusing. So I'm going to try and do it up here just so you can see. So I'm just going to click off. I'm going to click on the nav. See if we can get, okay, all the way as far out as we can get. Okay, so do this. Just click on the side here, and so it'll give you the column, like you can add another one. We don't want to. And what I want you to do is just click and drag this to the left a little bit. Now I can see the row. The problem was the column was going all the way to the edge, so I couldn't get to that row. But if I take the column, move it over, now I can select the row and add another row, doing it through this method. Okay. So let's go ahead and add another row. So we'll hit add row. Badoop. Okay. Now by default, it automatically puts 2 in there. Actually, I only wanted 1, so that's a little bit of annoyance. Because we're just going to put a title right in here for like the page title. So this will actually be a little bit easier to do if I do it through code down here. So you can see that it did a row and it did 2 columns, 2 div class columns, and it made each one 6. So there's 12 columns total. So if you look at the top one up here, oh, now it says 9, but it was 12. So you can see now it's 12. That's just telling how much, how many it is it's spanning. Okay, so we're gonna go down here, and it says 6 or whatever. So what I want to do is just delete one of them. So take one of these, either one doesn't really matter, and I'm just gonna highlight it, and I'm gonna hit delete, and then hit backspace. So now you'll see there's only one. There's this one here, but there is nothing here. That's the row itself. Okay. So inside of this, what I want to do is I want to add an H1, just a regular title. So I don't need any of these elements in here. These are all like pre-made stuff. I just want to write a title. I don't need something like that. So I'm going to switch back over to HTML, and we'll just do a heading 1 because this is going to be our main title of the page. So I'm just going to click on that, and then we're going to say we want to nest because I want it inside. There it goes. Great. Now, one of the things that's kind of annoying, you might have noticed, is it still has this little space here. So I don't know, can I just hit delete? Yeah, see, because it's like after, there we go. And then delete, backspace. Yeah, see, I can't really get rid of it. So we're just going to do it manually through the code here. So just select it and backspace and delete that out. Okay, so that's the title. That looks great. Let's actually change what this is. So let's just write title for right now, so that I know what it is. So you can click on it there. You can also do it down here. Just type in title. So I don't really like the layout of this currently. So what we're going to do is we're just going to adjust this a little bit. So the title should go, let's say we just pull this over, and I'm going to do it with 2 columns left. You can see right down here it says 10. Again, remember there's 12. And then I want to pull it from this side too. I'm sorry, just 1. So there's 1 column this side, 1 column this side, and this one takes up 10. So that equals 12. Same thing with this guy here. I'm going to take this and let's pull this. Let's go here, and I'm going to take the other side to offset it. And oh, I went too many. Hang on. And here. And then actually, let's go one out. Let's do this one like that. Let's take this one and actually make this considerably smaller. So let's go. Just want to make sure it's even on both sides. So if that's okay, so I think that's a little bit better. So now we have the title here and that. So you can grab on either side, and now I can see how it's laid out. All right, what I want to do next is add another row, and again, it's going to be 1 column. So I could do it this way, but let's just do it down here because I think it's a little bit easier. So what we're going to do is we're going to click, so I can see my row here. Right, so we have our div container. Everything's inside of that. I have 1 row. I have the next row. I'm just going to click after it, and let's hit enter too. Okay, and then I'm just going to go back to my Bootstrap, and we're going to go grid row with column, and I'm just going to say I want 1, and we'll hit OK. And now you'll see it makes another row for us right here, and it's only 1 column. It's a little bit easier to work with. And we're going to do the same thing we did before, where I want to place an element in here. So what I'm thinking is that I want to have a sort of carousel, because I just want a big picture that people see right off the bat. So I'm going to do it down in here because it's a little bit easier. I'm going to select this. I'm going to hit delete to get rid of the actual content that's in between that div. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to add a carousel. And that's going to put this big old carousel here for us. It's already designed. It's got 3 pre-made slides, and it's just got this generic image that they have made. That looks good, but it's obviously very large. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click off of it, and I'm going to see where it starts. So this is obviously my row. This is my column, and then this is the actual carousel. So I'm just going to hit a little twirly next to it, just so it's not so big. Makes it a little bit easier to work with. Great. Okay, so we got a row, got a row, got a row, and each one's just one column across. The next one, what I want to do is I want to do 4 columns. I think that'll look a little bit better. So I'm going to click on this row. I can see it highlights here, so I want to go after that. I'm going to go in there, and then what we're going to do is we're going to do grid row with column again. And we will do, I want to do 4. So we'll do 4 columns, and then we'll hit OK. And if we scroll down, you can see it did column, 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 column. They're all the same size. Fantabulous. Isn't that great? Okay. I don't like the content that's in there, once again, so we're going to go ahead and I'm just going to go in here. I'm going to delete the content that's inside that div. And this time, I'm going to use a card. So let's do card with links. That would be fine. We'll do card with links. And it's going to look like this. So you can see by default, this is kind of one of those weird things because you see how it says 4? So it is 4. It imagines that inside of this section that there are 12. So if it's 4 inside of this, it's only going to be 1/3 of it. So if you can imagine, this would be 1/3 because if it's 12 across. So that's why it's so skinny and it looks weird. I don't know why it does that by default. So we're just going to grab this and just, oops, not that. Back down there. Grab this and we're just going to drag it across so it fits the entirety of it. Okay? And that looks good. And we just want to do the same thing for the rest of them. But what might be easier is just to copy and paste it so we have to slide it each time. It's up to you. You can either just click in here. We'll just do it this way this time. Let's select that content and let's just go ahead and we'll do cards with links. We'll just click on it and we will nest. Okay. And I'm going to scroll down, grab this and drag this across. And then you can see I still have this content here. So I'm just going to delete that. Good. And that gets rid of it. So you can do it that way. You can do the way we did before. Or what I would like to do is I'm just going to make sure, okay, here's the column. You can see COL, blah, blah, blah. I'm just going to grab this whole bit, Control C or Command C if you're on a Mac, and I'm going to go in here, and then Control V or Command V if you're on a PC. Oops, I'm just going to make sure that it is nested inside of it. So tab, I guess like that. And then we'll do the same thing here. Delete this, and I'm going to enter. Oops, I'm going to enter, delete, enter, and I'll do Control V to paste. Oops, that's actually got to go underneath that one too. And I'm going to hit this and enter there. I want to try and make sure that everything's like nicely nested so that it all makes sense here. So if you look, see how like this one goes nested. So see how this goes inwards and then this one goes inwards because each one of these is inside the previous. I just want to make sure I do that consistently. So if you look at here, you can see even this one. See, I got the column, but then the card like doesn't look inside of it as much as it could. Also, it ended here. It'd be a little bit better if I hit enter, have it here. I'm gonna hit backspace, and then I want to tab all these in. So I'm just gonna grab this whole section and just hit tab, and now they're tabbed in, and that will make it a little bit more obvious that they are inside of it. And I'll do the same thing here. So again, this one's not part of it, and so if you look, okay, so this, you can see it's on the same level as that. So I'm going to grab this whole bit and tab that in just so it's more obvious. And I'm going to do the same thing here too. I just clicked a little twirly so we don't see the cards as much. So I'm just going to leave it so I can see the columns, but not the cards. It's just easier to work with as far as like the content is concerned. Okay, so that is looking pretty close. And let's just do one more section just because, you know, why not, right? So yeah, let's do one more. So I'm going to, let's take this column. I'm just going to pull it in just to make things easier and select, oops. Oh, I must have grabbed the card. I meant to grab the column. Okay, click on the edge here. Here we go. So that I have the column and I'm just going to drag this over. I'm going to click on this so I get the row again. And then we'll hit the plus with a row because I just wanted 2 anyway. So we'll go with the default. I'm going to go back here and I'm going to drag this back over so it's the full width again. Just trying to get to that menu for the thing. Okay, good. So let's go ahead and put some content in here. So We'll keep these as 2 big chunks. That's fine by me. So let's go in here. And I don't think I really want to do anything in particular in here. I mean, we could do a Jumbotron. Let's put a Jumbotron in there. Jumbotron, and we'll nest it inside. Okay, so you can see it's in there. I still have this little, so the ampersand NBSP, that stands for space. So if you're trying to put a space in something, like hitting spacebar, that's what it does, just in case you were wondering. All right, so now we have this, what we call this is actually more of a call to action because it has a button and some words there, but they call it a Jumbotron as well. So we'll call that good. We'll just put that one there. And then over here, I want to put different content in. So I'm going to go here. And let's just go ahead and we'll just use basic HTML. So let's have a heading for this. So we'll just go ahead and do a heading, but this time let's do a heading 3. And we will nest it so it's inside of that. That looks acceptable. I'm going to hit enter to go a line down. And then inside of there, let's go ahead and we'll do a paragraph. And we will go ahead and we'll do after, because I want to after this element. Now see, I actually have this little, let's get rid of that. There was an extra little, there we go. And now we have, so you can see we have an H3 and then a P. That looks acceptable. And what I want to do now is this. You can see this is not enough. It's not enough text content, right? So what I want to do is I want you to select the text that's inside of this P, which is paragraph. That's your body text. And then go to your snippets, and underneath the HTML snippets, you'll see one for ad lorem ipsum. So just double click on that. These are just single click. You have to double click these. So double click, and voila, it will put that content in there for you. All right. And we have made a basic web page. So the next thing you need to do is you want to save this, Control S or File Save As, and images, carousel, placeholder. So what it's doing is it's going to automatically save this picture here, this little placeholder picture. It's going to save that into our images. So we'll hit OK. Now, if you didn't already save it, I can't remember if we did this already. You want to do File, Save As, and you want to make sure you save it as index.html inside of your site. The other thing I want to make a point about is that you will notice, not you, this guy. It had already made the CSS here, but now it just made an images folder and it put that dummy image for us. Okay, so that's pretty nice to have that automatically created. That's what it was doing when that dialog box came up. That's what it was asking. So now that it's saved, we can actually click on this and this will preview. And any web browsers that you currently have installed will show up on here. So I'm going to click on Google Chrome. And you're going to notice, so you can see it's responsive. And notice how when I slide it, it looks, it'll snap to sizings. Okay. So like this gets to be a responsive menu. All right. And this is just an HTML document, and this can be uploaded to the web and anybody can view it. And that's super awesome. It is pretty close to what we see here in our live view. I'm just going to click on live so we see just live view. But you will sometimes see differences between the two. So just be aware that it's a good idea to make sure that you're testing things as you are working. Okay. But we'll call that good. All right. So once that's done, what you're going to want to do is you want to save it, preview it. That's fine. What you're going to do afterwards is minimize that. Your file, this HTML by itself, will not look correct. So watch. I'm just going to pull it out of there so you can see. If I open this up, this is what it looks like. Looks great, doesn't it? That's because it's linked to all of these other things that are telling it how to be formatted, what pictures to use, what interactive, how to act interactively, what design is being applied. They're all linked. So this entire folder is the website, not just this HTML. So this is very important. It's kind of like when we package inside of InDesign, right? We need the entire project folder. That's what we need here. So you need to make sure you give me the root folder. So what you want to do is take that root folder that has the website in it, right click over top of it, and go compress the zip file. If you're on a Mac, I think it's just compress. Then submit this zip folder, and then I can uncompress it and it will look like a regular folder, because you can't submit folders on Blackboard, which I'm sure you're probably already aware. So this is what you're going to turn in, is the actual zip folder. If you have any issues, let me know. I know it's a little bit confusing, but if you do run into issues, just make sure you email me the file and what the issue is, and then I will do my best to kind of help you, because I know this is kind of a little bit technical in comparison to some of the other things. I'm trying to make it as friendly, using the interface of Dreamweaver as much as possible, but some of it's just not possible. So good luck. Yeah, and let's feel free to explore and do other things as well.